He betrayed me for a belief I don't even share. That's what kept echoing in my mind that morning, as I sat at the edge of my bed, staring at the ceiling, knowing that everyone else in the house was getting dressed in silence. Silence so loud, it choked the air. I'm 18, legally an adult, old enough to vote, drive, sign my own name, and still, somehow, not old enough to say no when it comes to religion in my family. I don't believe in God, or gods, or astrology, or omens. I've tried. I really have. Not with arrogance, not out of spite. I've sat in temples. I've folded my hands. I've closed my eyes when asked, all while my mind wandered, silently wondering what it must feel like to believe in something so deeply that you'd spend 3 hours sitting in one place, doing rituals for peace, for protection, for reassurance. My family believes, all of them, deeply, entirely, almost beautifully. It runs through them like blood, and because of that, I've always tried to cooperate, tried not to rock the boat. When they planned religious trips, I'd go. When ceremonies were held, I'd show up. I didn't cause drama. I didn't argue. I kept the peace until the peace started costing pieces of me. A few weeks ago, some astrologer told my mom and my aunt that I had a bad omen. A dark energy was hovering over me, apparently. Something invisible, but dangerous. Something that could, in their words, ruin my future, if not corrected. So they came to me, calmly, and said, "It's just a quick temple visit, 20 minutes max, just to remove the bad energy." I didn't want to go. Not because I hate them, not because I'm lazy, just because I'm tired. Tired of pretending, tired of performing a faith I don't feel. But they were gentle this time. No pressure, no shouting. Just a soft, concerned nudge. And that part of me that still wants to be a good son, a good nephew, a good person, said yes. 2 days later, they dropped the truth. They had already paid 10,000 rupees, roughly $130. They'd booked a full-on ritual, and it wouldn't be 20 minutes, it'd be 3 hours. At 5 in the morning, 3 hours of sitting in silence at a temple for a ritual I don't believe in, to remove a curse I don't think exists, caused by a planet I can't even see. When I found out, I snapped. Not violently, not disrespectfully, but I was firm. I said, "You never told me it would be this long. You knew I don't want to go. Why didn't you tell me before spending the money?" And what did they say? "We didn't know it would be that long either." I didn't believe them. I still don't. Maybe they didn't know all the details, but they knew more than they let on. And they signed me up anyway, without telling me, without asking again. That's what made me angry. Not the ritual itself, but the assumption, the quiet expectation that I'd say yes, no matter what, that I'd sacrifice my comfort, my peace, my belief system, just because they said it was important. So I told them no. I said I wouldn't be going. And then came the storm. My mom cried. My dad called me selfish. My aunt wouldn't even speak to me. Suddenly, I was the villain, the ungrateful son, the arrogant teenager who couldn't sit still for 3 hours, not even for the sake of his mother. They said, "It's just 3 hours. Can't you do this one thing for your family?" But it wasn't just one thing. It never is. Every small surrender becomes a pattern. Every time I say yes when I mean no, I lose a piece of myself. My silence becomes compliance, and their belief becomes my obligation. That's not love. That's control. And here's the kicker. The fee they paid, it wasn't even wasted. It could be transferred to someone else, another family member. No harm done. But they made it personal, made it about loyalty, about sacrifice, about me being selfish for refusing to go through with something they never honestly explained. And still, I felt guilty. Because I do love them. Because I know they believe they're protecting me. Because I know that, in their eyes, this isn't manipulation, it's care. And because I remember every late night my mom stayed up when I was sick, every time my dad worked extra hours to pay for school, every sacrifice they made so I could have a better life. But does love mean blind obedience? Does love mean sitting in silence for hours while your soul screams for freedom? Or does love, real love, include respect? Respect for my mind, respect for my beliefs, respect for the quiet voice in me that says, this isn't right, this isn't me. After I said no, the house changed. Meals were quiet. No one looked me in the eyes. I became a ghost, not shouted at, just disapproved of. The cold shoulder was louder than any argument, and for the first time in my life, I didn't back down. I stood my ground. I held the line, because I knew this was the moment that would decide how the rest of my life would go. Whether I'd always be the quiet, obedient child, or whether I'd finally, fully step into adulthood. It wasn't easy. Even now, I sometimes wonder, was I the selfish one? Would 3 hours of boredom have really killed me? Maybe I should have just sucked it up, played along, made them happy. Let them believe the ritual worked. Let them feel like they saved me from the darkness. Wouldn't that have been easier? But easy isn't always right, and being true to yourself is rarely easy. So, am I the asshole for refusing to sit through a religious ritual I don't believe in? For saying no when I was pressured? For wanting to be honest, not just to them, but to myself? That's the question. Now here's my reflection. As your host, there's something deeply powerful about a young person choosing truth over comfort. This wasn't just about a 3-hour ceremony. This was about autonomy, about spiritual consent, about drawing a boundary that said, I love you, but I don't believe what you believe. And I need you to respect that. To everyone listening, especially if you come from a devout family, I want to say this. Your beliefs are valid, whether they align with your culture or drift far from it, whether you pray daily or question everything. You deserve the right to choose your own path, without fear, without guilt. But standing your ground, especially when love is on the line, takes courage most people can't even name. So here's my question to you, the listener. When your truth whispers, do you listen? Or do you silence it just to keep the peace? Let me know in the comments. And if you've ever been caught between love and belief, hit that like button and share your story. This is AITA Stories. And until next time, choose honesty, even when it shakes the ground you stand on.